Let me tell you a truth that sounds harsh, but can set you free for life. The world respects results, not intentions. When you are struggling, people call it learning. When you are losing, they call it bad decisions. When you fail, they say, I told you so. But the moment you win, suddenly everyone believed in you from the beginning. This is not cruelty. This is reality. And once you understand it, you stop expecting emotional support from a competitive world and start building strength from within. Success changes how people hear your voice, see your ideas, and value your presence. The same words ignored yesterday will be applauded tomorrow only because you won. People don't bet on potential, they bet on proof. And this is one of the most painful truths you will ever face on the road to success. When you are just starting out, when your ideas are still fragile, when your plans live only in your mind and heart, the world treats you like noise, not because your ideas are bad, but because they are unproven. Humans are trained by life to trust what they can see, measure, and touch. Dreams cannot be touched. Effort cannot be displayed. Intentions do not show up on balance sheets or certificates. Only results do. You may have talent, intelligence, and discipline, but none of that matters to people who have not seen evidence yet. You could explain your vision 1,000 times, with passion in your voice and fire in your eyes, and still people will nod politely and move on. They are not listening for your passion. They are listening for outcomes. This is why so many people feel misunderstood in the beginning. They believe the world should recognize their effort, but the world only recognizes impact. When you fail, people don't ask how hard you tried. They ask what went wrong. When you struggle, they don't ask how much you learned. They ask why. You haven't succeeded yet. And when you succeed, they don't ask how difficult it was. They ask how you did it. This shift is not accidental. It reveals how society is wired. People don't follow potential leaders. They follow proven ones. This is why seeking validation too early is dangerous. If you depend on encouragement before results, you will quit when encouragement disappears. And it will disappear very quickly. The early stage of every meaningful journey is full of silence, no applause, no recognition, no reassurance. If you cannot move forward without people cheering for you, you will never make it far enough to deserve the cheers. Understand this deeply. Lack of support does not mean lack of value. It simply means lack of proof. And proof takes time. Proof is built through consistency, through failure, through repetition, and through patience. The world is not cruel for waiting. It is practical. You must earn its attention. Think about it carefully. When you see a successful person today, you assume they were always confident, always supported, always respected. That is an illusion. Before the success, their phone was quiet, their ideas were doubted, their choices were questioned. And many times, the people closest to them were the first to say, this won't work. Not because they wanted them to fail, but because they could not imagine success without evidence. So stop explaining yourself. Stop arguing with doubters. Stop trying to make people understand your journey while you are still walking it. Energy spent on convincing others is energy stolen from building yourself. Every hour you spend seeking approval is an hour you are not improving your skills. The strongest move you can make is silence paired with progress. Let people misunderstand you while you work. Let them doubt while you learn. Let them laugh while you grow. Because the day results arrive, explanations become unnecessary. Success speaks a language everyone understands. You must also accept this uncomfortable truth. Even the people who love you may not believe in you at first. Love does not automatically create vision. Care does not automatically create faith. Many people project their own fears onto your dreams. They are not rejecting you. They are protecting themselves. But you cannot let their fear become your limit. At the beginning, your belief must be stronger than everyone else's doubt combined. That is the real test. Anyone can stay motivated when praised. Only a fee. W can stay disciplined when ignored. Those few are the ones who eventually win. So if today you feel unseen, unheard, or unsupported, do not panic. This is not a sign to quit. This is a sign you're still in the proving phase. Build quietly, improve daily, fail intelligently, learn relentlessly. Because once proof exists, support will follow automatically. And remember this, the world never apologizes for doubting you, but it always shows up when you win. Loneliness is not an accident on the road to success. It is a requirement. Before anything meaningful is built, before results appear, before recognition arrives, the path becomes quiet, not peaceful, quiet. There are no voices cheering you on, no hands reaching out to pull you forward, and often no one asking if you are okay. This silence is uncomfortable, and many people mistake it for a sign that they are on the wrong path. In reality, it is proof that they have stepped onto a path few are willing to walk. When you choose a difficult goal, you automatically separate yourself from the crowd. Most people want safety, predictability, and immediate comfort. When you choose growth, you choose uncertainty. When you choose ambition, you choose delay. And when you choose discipline, you choose isolation. Not because you hate people, but because your priorities no longer match the rhythm of the majority. There will be nights when you sit alone with your thoughts, questioning everything. There will be mornings when you wake up without excitement, only responsibility. In those moments, motivation will not save you. Passion will not save you. Only discipline will. And discipline grows strongest in isolation, not in crowds. Loneliness forces you to listen to yourself. Without constant opinions, you begin to hear your own reasoning more clearly. You learn what you truly want, not what is popular. You stop measuring progress by applause and start measuring it by improvement. This internal clarity is something no amount of social support can replace. Many people quit not because the goal is too hard, but because the silence feels too heavy. They crave validation, conversation, and reassurance. But success is built in environments where those things are scarce. If the road were crowded, it would not lead anywhere special. Loneliness also teaches emotional control. When no one is there to encourage you, you learn how to encourage yourself. When no one notices your effort, you learn how to work without being seen. This skill becomes priceless later in life because even at the top, pressure increases and expectations grow. If you cannot handle loneliness early, you will not survive responsibility later. There is a deep transformation that happens in isolation. You stop performing for others. You stop seeking approval. You begin to build for yourself. This is where real confidence comes from, not from compliments, but from keeping promises to yourself when no one is watching. Understand this clearly. Loneliness is not punishment. It is preparation. It strips away dependency and builds resilience. It teaches you to stand upright without leaning on praise. Those who avoid loneliness remain fragile, ways needing someone else to believe in them before they believe in themselves. At times, you will feel misunderstood, even by those closest to you. They may think you are changing, becoming distant, or obsessed. What they don't see is the internal war you are fighting, the war between comfort and commitment. You are not abandoning them. You are building something they cannot yet see. Loneliness also reveals your true character. In crowds, it is easy to pretend. Alone, there is nowhere to hide. Your habits, discipline, and thoughts become visible to you. This honesty is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. You cannot build greatness on self-deception. The truth is simple, but difficult to accept. If everyone understands you, you are not aiming high enough. If everyone supports you, you are not pushing hard enough. Every great outcome requires a season where you walk alone. So when the silence gets loud, do not escape it. Use it. Turn loneliness into focus. Turn isolation into mastery. Turn quiet nights into planning, learning, and self-improvement. This phase will not last forever, but its impact will. One day, when results appear, people will suddenly surround you. They will say, why? Oh, are lucky, confident, and strong. They will never see the lonely nights that shaped you, and that is okay. Those nights were not meant to be shared. They were meant to build you. Criticism is loudest when you are weak and quietest when you are strong, and understanding this truth can save you years of emotional struggle. When you are still climbing, still learning, still experimenting, people feel entitled to comment on your choices. They analyze your mistakes, question your decisions, and highlight every flaw as if they are experts on your life. At that stage, criticism feels personal, heavy, and constant. It can make you doubt yourself, slow your progress, or even stop altogether if you are not mentally prepared. But here is what most people fail to realize. Criticism is rarely about your actions. It is about your position. When you are not yet successful, people feel safe judging you. They feel superior pointing out your failures because it reassures them that they are making better choices, even if they are standing still. Your struggle becomes their comfort. Your uncertainty becomes their evidence that risk is dangerous. When you try something new and it does not work, immediately people say you are careless. When you change direction, they say you are confused. When you fail publicly, they say you are not ready. These comments sound logical on the surface, but underneath them is fear. Fear of change, fear of risk, fear of ending up in the same vulnerable position you are in. The dangerous part is not criticism itself. It is letting criticism shape your identity. Thank you. If you listen too closely, you start adjusting your actions to avoid judgment instead of pursuing growth. You choose safer paths. You lower your ambitions. You delay decisions. Slowly, criticism does what failure never could. It convinces you to abandon your potential. But watch carefully what happens when success arrives. The same people who criticized your choices begin to admire your courage. The mistakes they once mocked suddenly become valuable experience. The risk they warned you against becomes smart moves. Your story does not change. Only the ending does. And because the ending changed, their interpretation changes with it. This reveals something important. People do not judge journeys, they judge outcomes. While you are walking the path, they only see uncertainty. Once you reach a destination, they rewrite the story as if it was obvious all along. This is why arguing with critics is pointless. You cannot win debates while results are missing. Proof ends arguments permanently. Criticism fades with strength because strength intimidates doubt. When you demonstrate consistency, skill, and results, people become cautious with their opinions. They stop telling you what to do and start asking how you did it. Not because they suddenly respect you as a person, but because success commands authority without words. This is why emotional resilience matters more than talent. Talent can open doors, but resilience keeps you moving when every voice tells you to stop. If you expect encouragement while growing, you will be disappointed. Growth attracts friction. Progress attracts resistance. These are signs you are moving forward, not backward. You must learn to separate useful feedback from meaning. Less noise. Not all criticism is harmful. Some of it is instruction disguised as discomfort. But random opinions from people who have not walked your path deserve no emotional space in your mind. If someone has not achieved what you're trying to build, their doubts are irrelevant. There will be moments when criticism comes from people you respect, and that hurts the most. Their words echo longer. But even then, remember this. They are judging from their limits, not yours. They see risk through their own fears, not your vision. Silence becomes your greatest weapon during this phase. Not silence born of weakness, but silence born of focus. You stop defending yourself. You stop explaining every move. You let people misunderstand you while you improve. This kind of silence is powerful because it preserves energy. Every explanation drains strength. Every argument steals momentum. Over time, as progress accumulates, criticism loses interest in you. Critics thrive on reaction. When you stop reacting and start producing, they move on to easier targets. And when you finally succeed, many of them disappear completely, not because they changed, but because they can no longer stand in judgment. So do not fear criticism. Expect it, accept it, outgrow it. Let it sharpen your discipline, not weaken your resolve. Let it remind you that you are doing something uncommon, because if you were doing nothing, no one would have anything to say. In the end, criticism does not disappear because people become kinder. It disappears because success makes their opinions unnecessary. Success does not suddenly create fake friends. It exposes the truth that was always there. Before results appear, relationships are simple. People interact with you casually, without expectations, because there is nothing to gain or lose. But once success enters your life, dynamics change, not because you changed your heart, but because your position changed. And position alters perception, faster T. Han personality ever could. Many people misunderstand this phase. They feel betrayed, confused, or disappointed when new faces appear and old ones behave differently. They say, people only care now because I succeeded. That may be true, but it is not a personal attack. It is human behavior responding to value. Humans naturally move toward opportunity, stability, and strength. When you had none of those visible traits, attention was minimal. When you gained them, attention followed. This is not hypocrisy, it is clarity. Success removes masks. It shows who respects effort, who respects outcomes, and who only respects CTS advantage. Before success, everyone looks equal because there is nothing at stake. After success, motives surface. Some people want guidance, some want access, some want association, and some simply want proof that hard work can pay off. The mistake many people make is expecting unconditional loyalty from a conditional world. Loyalty is rare, not common. Most relationships are built on shared circumstances, not shared values. When circumstances change, relationships adjust. This does not make people evil, it makes them honest. You must also understand that people who ignored you before success are not necessarily bad people. They simply had no reason to pay attention. Attention is currency, and people spend it where they see return. When you were struggling, your story felt risky, UNC, entertaining, and uncomfortable. After success, your story feels safe, inspiring, and useful. Another painful truth emerges here. Some people close to you may feel uncomfortable with your growth. Your success becomes a mirror, reflecting what they avoided, delayed, or abandoned. Even without words, your progress can make them feel smaller. So they distance themselves, criticize subtly, or downplay your achievements. This is not because you failed them, it is because you outgrew a shared comfort zone. At the same time, new people will enter your life with enthusiasm and respect. They may admire your discipline, your thinking, or your courage. Their interest may be genuine, opportunistic, or mixed. It is your responsibility not to judge too quickly and not to trust blindly. Wisdom grows when you observe patterns, not promises. Success demands emotional maturity. You cannot become bitter toward those who arrive late, and you cannot cling desperately to those who leave early. You must accept that relationships evolve as you evolve. Holding on to resentment will only poison your progress. This phase teaches you discernment. You learn the difference between admiration and loyalty, between support and convenience, between friendship and access. Real friends are not those who celebrate your wins loudly, but those who respect your boundaries quietly. They don't demand favors. They don't compete with you. They don't remind you of what they did for you. They simply remain consistent. Success also tests your ego. When attention increases, so does temptation to impress, to overgive, to play. If you are not careful, you may trade self-respect for approval. You may say yes too often, share too much, or carry others at the cost of your own balance. This is where many successful people lose themselves. Remember this, your responsibility is not to save everyone. Your responsibility is to protect what you built. Not everyone who approaches you deserves access to your time, energy, or resources. Boundaries are not arrogance, they are survival. The truth is, before success, people ignore you because you are invisible. After success, people approach you because you are visible. Visibility changes behavior. Do not take it personally. Take it wisely. In the end, success does not make people fake. It makes reality clear. It shows you who connects with your values and who connects with your value. Both exist. Both are normal. But only one deserves a place close to you. If you can understand this without anger, without pride, and without fear, you will grow not just successful, but stable, grounded, and free. Before you win, the world teaches you a painful but necessary lesson. Loyalty is a luxury you cannot afford to demand too early. Many people talk about fairness, support, and belief, but these things are rarely given to those who are still struggling. Not because the world is unjust, but because survival teaches people to trust strength more than hope. This is why the smartest move you can make in the beginning is not to argue about loyalty, not to complain about betrayal, and not to waste time asking why people don't stand by you. The only real answer is simply, you have not won yet. Winning does not mean defeating others. Winning means building something so solid that doubt no longer has space to speak. It means becoming so disciplined that excuses lose their power. It means working when no one is watching, continuing when no one is clapping, and learning when no one is teaching you. Until that happens, expecting loyalty is emotional distraction. Any people lose years of their lives arguing with reality. They say, if people supported me, I would succeed. This is backwards. Support follows success. Success rarely follows support. History proves this again and again. The ones who waited for encouragement stayed stuck. The ones who moved forward without it changed their lives. Before you win, you must become comfortable being misunderstood. People will think you are arrogant for dreaming big and foolish for taking risks. They will question your choices, mock your failures, and compare you to safer examples. If you respond emotionally, you lose focus. If you try to defend yourself, you waste energy. Silence and progress are the only responses that work. Winning requires obsession, not with fame or money, but with improvement. You must obsess over learning faster than others, failing smarter than others, and getting back up quicker than others. This level of commitment often looks unreasonable to outsiders. They don't see your vision, so they judge your intensity. Let them. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be effective. There will be moments when you feel angry that people don't recognize your effort. You will think they don't know how hard I work. That thought is natural but dangerous. The world does not reward effort. It rewards value. Effort is personal. Value is visible. Your job is not to explain how hard something was. It is to make the result undeniable. Winning also demands patience. Many people want loyalty before they have consistency, respect before they have results, and influence before they have impact. This impatience destroys them. They want the rewards of success without paying the full price. But life does not work on credit. You must pay upfront with time, discipline, and sacrifice. When you finally win, something interesting happens. People change, not because you demanded loyalty, but because you earned authority. Your words carry weight. Your advice is requested. Your presence is noticed. This shift can feel confusing if you are not prepared. Some people will suddenly act like they were always on your side. Do not confront them. Do not correct them. Let results speak. Winning removes the need for emotional closure. At this stage, you must remain grounded. Do not let success make you arrogant, and do not let attention make you careless. Remember how invisible you once were. Remember how quiet the road was. That memory will keep you humble and sharp. True loyalty reveals itself after you win, not before. The people who stay consistent when you no longer need them, those are the ones worth keeping close. Everyone else is part of the process, not the destination. So if today you feel unsupported, overlooked, or alone, do not turn bitter. Turn focused. Stop asking who is with you. Start asking how strong you are becoming. Stop demanding belief. Start building proof. Win first. Not loudly, not publicly. Win quietly, internally, relentlessly. Because once you win, you won't need to beg for loyalty. The right people will recognize you without being asked. Win first. Not for applause, not for revenge, but for freedom. When results arrive, noise fades, doubts disappear, and respect follows naturally. Until then, stay silent, stay focused. Keep building. Because in the end, victory explains everything.